25 CR 3890, Mr. Hirschfeld appears in custody here on an extradition matter. I'll appoint an attorney from the Public Defender's Office. Ms. Usman, have you had enough time to go over Mr. Hirschfeld's options with him today?
I have, Your Honor. Mr. Hirschfeld has elected to demand a governor's warrant and request a bond hearing.
Okay. So Mr. Hirschfeld, the state of New Mexico is advising they have an active warrant for your arrest. I have very little information about your charge in New Mexico, other than what it tells me on the sheet of paper, which is that it's careless driving. It looks like the date of the warrant was pretty recent, August 14th of 2025. It's the Raton Police Department in New Mexico. Given the recent date of warrant, my assumption is that it is a pre-conviction case. Mr. Ryan, do you have any information that would state otherwise?
For some reason, this one didn't pop up on my docket. I'm gonna look it up right now.
It might have just been added on because it's an extradition matter, and that is how
I believe
these
it was
happen.
added on. I didn't have it on my original docket either.
Just give it a quick look. I would very likely just agree with the court at that point, given your view of the matter.
Okay. So Mr. Hirschfeld, I'll give Mr. Ryan a little bit more time to see if he finds anything different. The reason why that's important is to whether it's a pre or post conviction matter is because that determines whether I have the discretion to set a bond when you demand a governor's warrant. You have two options today. One is you can demand a governor's warrant from the state of New Mexico. If you choose that option, New Mexico has up to 95 days to return that governor's warrant to Colorado. Once they do, if you are out of custody and have not, that warrant is still active, then you'd be remanded again and held in custody. At that time, you could request a hearing here in Colorado to determine if the warrant is valid. If at that hearing the warrant is found to be valid, then you would be extradited to New Mexico and they would have 15 to 30 days from that future date to come pick you up. If you don't request a hearing, then that timeline starts right then when you're remanded on the governor's warrant, and New Mexico has 15 to 30 days to come and get you. If you demand a governor's warrant and we address bond and I set a bond, which I have the discretion to do, I don't have to, but if I set a bond and you're able to post that bond, the whole point is that you get back to New Mexico as soon as possible and turn yourself in on this warrant. Otherwise, if you don't and the governor's warrant comes back before you get back to New Mexico and turn yourself in, then you just go back into custody on that warrant and you're held without any bond, pending New Mexico picking you up within the time frame. So that's kind of the whole point of demanding a governor's warrant, having a bond set, is that your plan is to get back to New Mexico as soon as possible and turn yourself in on the warrant. Do you have any questions about any of that?
So you're saying that would be, so you're saying if this thing goes through, you're saying upon release, I got to get myself out there immediately.
So, Your Honor, I also advised him he could reach out to an attorney and see if they could quash the warrant, which is also, I think, an option.
It's going to be my condition of bond that you return to New Mexico as soon as possible. I'm not going to give you a deadline. If you're planning on working with an attorney to consult with someone to see about getting the warrant quashed, you can do that. My point is that if the governor's warrant comes back before you do that or make accommodations to get it taken care of there, then you're going to go back into custody here. So that's why the whole point is to get back there and take care of this warrant as soon as possible.
So what we're discussing is that upon release, if this were to happen immediately or something, I got to get myself out to Mexico, snap fast.
Buckle up, guys. Today we are diving into the dramatic courtroom clash of Mr. Hirschfeld, who's been hauled in on an extradition warrant out of New Mexico. The judge sets the stage, explaining how extradition works, making it crystal clear this is no ordinary traffic case. The suspense starts building fast, because what looks like a simple careless driving charge is about to spiral into a legal storm.
Okay,
and so if that means, this week you're going to be reaching out to attorneys in New Mexico and retaining somebody, and they're going to work with you on a date to go in and turn yourself in or to go in and appear for a hearing. Yeah, I want you working on that as soon as possible. I'm not going to tell you a condition of bond is that you have 1 week to get back to New Mexico, but my condition of bond is going to be as soon as possible, because that's sort of the whole point of that, of demanding a governor's warrant and requesting that I set a bond. The whole point is that you're going to get back to New Mexico and get this taken care of.
Okay, I understand. I understand the picture. Before leaving out of here, could we just jot this down, what we talked about on paper, making sure that I got to get out there? Not that I don't have bad memory. As I was talking to her prior before you, I moved away from basically everything that I knew, everyone that I knew, to move to a new city and go to school that I didn't know anybody at. So when I ended up doing that in the process, I basically walked away from my friends, all my acquaintances, everything that I knew, and started a new life. And so long story short is basically I have no problem following the script of what you're telling me to do, but I want to make sure I follow it step by step and not messing anything up and making sure that
I think Ms. Usepin will, so let me finish advising you about a bit more, but here's what I'll suggest to you is that if I set a bond and you post it, I would say the very next day, get down to the public defender's office here in Colorado Springs and apply for their services so they can help you with your case, the corresponding case here in Colorado. And then you'll have an attorney that can tell you exactly what I've ordered you to do as a condition of bond, right? And they can make sure that if you have any questions, you know what to do. I don't have a way right now to write everything down for you before you leave court today. So really the best thing that you can do is apply and see if you qualify for the public defender's office as soon as you get out. So you can have an attorney helping you with this case here, and then they could very well help you to either apply for the public defender in New Mexico or whatever, give you information about how this process sort of goes. So that would be my best advice for you, is to get help from an attorney here in Colorado.
I understand. Thank you. As far as you saying bond, I have no money and I don't have any family. I don't have any friends.
Well, we haven't addressed bond yet, so hold on one second. I'm just talking to you about your options.
Okay.
So do you feel like you understand the option to demand a governor's warrant? What comes with that?
Yes.
Okay, the other option you have is to waive extradition to New Mexico. If you waive extradition to New Mexico today, New Mexico would have 15 to 30 days to come and pick you up from the state of Colorado. During that time, you would be held here on no bond, pending New Mexico coming to pick you up. Once they come and pick you up, they take you back to New Mexico. The warrant gets taken care of and you go through the process there. If they don't come and pick you up in the time frame they're supposed to, 15 to 30 days, then I would dismiss this corresponding Colorado case, and you would be released from custody if there's nothing else holding you here in Colorado. But there would only be this corresponding case in Colorado that would be dismissed. Your active warrant in New Mexico would still remain active, because the only way to get that warrant taken care of is to physically return to New Mexico and turn yourself in. So if you have police contact in the future, they're going to see this warrant and you're going to go through the same process again. So the difference of these two options is that in one, you're voluntarily agreeing to return to New Mexico and they're going to come pick you up. And if they don't, this case will be dismissed here in Colorado. The other option, right, to demand a governor's warrant is that you're agreeing you're going to get back there on your own as soon as possible.
Judge now breaks down Hirschfield's choices. Either demand a governor's warrant, which gives New Mexico 95 days to pick him up, or waive it and head straight back. But here's the catch. Demand the warrant, and he risks sitting in custody for months. The tension is clear as Hirschfield realizes the longer he hesitates, the deeper the hole gets. This isn't just about legal procedure. It's about his freedom slipping away.
Well, see, here's the thing. I would like to go that you were out there talking about me, because I want to say, they always say, watch your words that you speak in court. Well, I want everything to be heard that I'm saying right now. I've been doing this for like 3 or 4 years now. The same routine, being picked up and taken up to Mexico, being picked up, taken out to Mexico, being picked up, taken out to Mexico. I moved away from everyone and everything that I knew to go to college in my early years, several years ago. When I did that, to start a new path in my life, this whole thing came up. And I've been stuck in this, it seems like, the only way I can explain it, this tornado that I keep going around in, and the same thing keeps happening over and over and over again. 1, I'm innocent. 2, this stuff came out of basically nowhere. 3, I don't know how to get myself out of this tornado thing that I keep going through. The same thing keeps happening over and over and over and over again. And I say to myself, I'm doing all that I know how to do. My brain and my body can only do so much. I've been so through.
Hirschfield challenges a judge, asking if he really needs to return to New Mexico so quickly. The judge's response is blunt cutting and unforgettable. Snap your ass back to New Mexico. The courtroom energy shifts instantly. This isn't just a warning, it's a wake-up call. The judge makes it clear Hirschfield's delays and excuses won't work anymore, and the heat in the room just went up several notches.
But I've been stressed out in my lifetime. I've been so stressed out. I'm worn out. And being in this thing where I keep going around in circles, Colorado, New Mexico, Colorado, New Mexico, Colorado. I get released. They release me in New Mexico. I don't know anybody out there. That's what keeps happening.
Okay, so Mr. Hirschfeld, I can give you more time to talk to Miss Uspen. I'm sorry about this sort of wheel that you've been spinning through. I don't know much about that, prior to this, but I can only really talk to you about this case and this situation and what your options are, and the options that you have today. And if you have any more questions about those, I'm happy to answer them, or I'm happy to let you talk more with Miss Uspen about that to figure out, to make the decision that's best for you, given all you have sort of going on in your life right now. But I can't do anything about the warrant in New Mexico, and I can't do anything about the agreement Colorado and New Mexico have about extraditable warrants. So what I can tell you for sure is that you have to get back to New Mexico and take care of this warrant. Otherwise, you will keep going through this cycle over and over again. So do you want more time to talk to Miss Uspen, or do you think you have enough information to make a decision on what you'd like to do today?
I believe we talked it through prior to on what's the best thing to do. I just don't feel like sitting around burning my life up. I wonder how many years have gone.
So Mr. Hirschfeld, I just need you to make a decision, and I'm happy to give you more time to talk to an attorney, but otherwise, would you like to waive extradition to New Mexico or demand a governor's warrant today?
Well, you said you wanted to do governor's warrant for the bond argument. Do you want to do the waiver? Which the waiver is the 30 days. The governor's warrant's
Keeps putting me in this circle.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Waiver.
You want to do the waiver?
No, what I'm saying is
Yeah.
that's what I keep doing, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know.
I keep going in the circle over and over and over.
I
How do
think
I get out of this?
Okay. It's been explained before.
Wait. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so Your Honor, I think we'll just take another minute. I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem. Okay, has he made a decision on what he'd like to do today?
Yes, Your Honor, he does want to pursue the governor's warrant and would ask that we argue bond.
Okay, go ahead regarding bond arguments.
Yes, Your Honor. So Mr. Hirschfeld has lived his whole life in Colorado. His family also lives in Colorado, but they're far out. As you know, it's a big state, so they're, I think he said, over 100 miles away. That being said, this is a careless driving case. It's a case that he has a lot of emotions about, as the court was able to hear, and a case he does want to resolve. He's just not sure how to get out of the cycle. I think with the help of the PD's office, and he has informed me he will go right to the PD's office, we can help get him set up with a step-by-step idea of how to reach out to the PD in New Mexico, how to work on getting this case resolved so that he can move on. I think in the past, he just doesn't know how to handle the court system, and I think he just needs guidance. Your Honor, I've also been informed by Mr. Hirschfeld that he is not going to be able to post any monetary bond. He does have a car, and he would be able to get to court, he's informed me. And he has a phone with which he's going to sign up for court dates and court reminders so he knows he can get here. My request would be to this court to be able to do a personal recognizance bond, with a condition being that, of course, he makes every effort to get to New Mexico, and he works with potentially the public defender's office or any office to be able to set up and start this process. I think he'll be able to do it. And if the court would like to set earlier review dates in court, I think that would be appropriate in order to check on him and how he's doing. But this is a careless driving case. I think a personal recognizance bond would be appropriate. I think he wholeheartedly, and I think the court could hear it, just wants to get this resolved and put behind him. He just needs the help in figuring out how.
All right, thanks, Ms. Uspen. Mr. Ryan.
Yeah, sure. So we have a couple complicating factors here. While it's listed as a careless driving case, I'm looking at 25 CR 45. That was a fugitive from justice case, which I believe is the same case, because it's a warrant from New Mexico. Governor's warrant was demanded and provided, and that has careless driving, but also aggravated fleeing and eluding, impeding traffic, failure to maintain. He was sent back to New Mexico on that warrant earlier this year, and is now back again. I believe it's the same matter, same warrant that he did kind of evade from at that point. And while here in Colorado Springs in the last 2 years has picked up, it appears, 2 separate DUIs. So all these offenses involve some form of driving. I did notice a couple older FTAs. I haven't gotten through the full criminal history, but I guess the recency is what concerns me of, in essence, I'd like him to put this all behind him too. I think the most efficient way of doing that is getting him there and having it figured out. But it didn't appear to take last time when we followed the same track. And that was, I believe, in May of this year was the governor's warrant was signed by.
Hirschfield pours out his frustrations, describing his life as a tornado, caught between courts, jail cells, and endless paperwork. He claims innocence, but admits he's trapped in a cycle he can't escape. It's a raw, emotional moment that shows his desperation. Yet, while Hirschfield pleads for understanding, the judge holds firm. The gap between Hirschfield's excuses and the legal reality has never been clearer.
Well, I'm just looking at some of Mr. Hirschfield's criminal history in Colorado. I'm seeing 24 CR 57. That's a case up in Teller County where he's charged with driving under the influence and eluding. And it looks, so I don't know, Miss Usman, if you've had any time to look at that case.
Your Honor, I have not. This was not on my original docket.
Yeah, so just so you know, so I'm just looking through the history of that, and I think that would be helpful probably for your office to look at as well. But I do see that a governor's warrant was requested for a different extradition matter, and that's the 25 CR 45 case. That was an extradition case that was filed up in Teller County, but it looks like it's the same maybe case going on in New Mexico. A governor's warrant was requested. It was signed and returned, and bond was revoked on that case back in June. So you have been going through this cycle, but it's because this warrant in New Mexico hasn't been taken care of. So I'm concerned that one, Mr. Hirschfield continues to drive, that there's a DUI case pending now in Colorado. There's a new extradition case. I see 25M1010 up in Teller County as well, which is another DUI case. So I am concerned about community safety. I'm concerned that Mr. Hirschfeld may have some other things going on as I'm looking through the history in those other cases. And I'm concerned that he's not going to get back to New Mexico and take care of this. So given that information, I don't agree that a personal recognizance bond is appropriate. I'm going to set bond in the amount of $2,500 cash, surety, or property in this case. Obviously, if Mr. Hirschfeld is able to post that bond, and I know from your bond argument that it seems like that's not going to be possible, but if something changes, he needs to return to New Mexico as soon as possible and turn himself in on that warrant. I'm going to set this case out about 4 weeks for a review to see what the status is on that governor's warrant. And I'll keep this case here because I think all of his other cases are in Teller that I can see right now. So I'll just keep this one down here. Also, I don't think that, well, we'll just wait to see what happens with the governor's warrant, because since there's 2 other open cases here, I don't know that Colorado is going to release your hold, but we have to wait and see if that governor's warrant comes back anyway. So I'm going to set this for a review in 4 weeks on September 30th, which is a Tuesday. That'll be back in here in Division DST at 1:30.
I was wondering if we could maybe set it 2 weeks out just to see if he can post. If not, he might decide he needs to waive.
Yeah, any objection to that, Mr. Ryan?
That's fine, Your Honor.
All right, so then that will, we actually will not be here on the 16th. So I'll set it to the 23rd.
Okay.
So September 23rd, which is a Tuesday, back in Division DST for a review. Anything else for Mr. Hirschfeld?